Welcome back, friends. In today's video, we're covering a topic that was highly requested in my story explanation of Black Myth Wukong. That's right, we're taking a deep dive into the tragic love story of our little piggy friend, Zhu Bajie, and his star-crossed lover, Violet Spider. We'll cover Zhu's fall from grace, his journey to the west, the events of Black Myth Wukong, and his various encounters with Violet Spider throughout his story. Note that Violet Spider is a new character added by the game, and not part of the traditional mythology. So I'll be covering the mythology while also explaining the game's narrative as it relates to her romance with Zhu. Anyways, when you are ready, grab a cookie and hot chocolate, sit back, and let's dive into this tale of tragic romance. Before his infamous descent to Earth, Zhu holds a prestigious position in the heavenly hierarchy. Known as Tianping Yuan Shui, which translates to Marshal of Heavenly Mugwort or Canopy, he commands an impressive force of 80,000 Celestial Navy soldiers. This lofty rank places him among the elite of Heaven's military forces, responsible for maintaining order and defending the celestial realms. In the mythology, his elevated status comes crashing down due to a single night of poor judgment. During a grand celebration in heaven, attended by various deities and immortals, Zhu indulges a little too much in the celestial wine. In his inebriated state, his gaze falls upon Chang'e, the goddess of the moon. Renowned for her beauty, Chang'e is the subject of many myths and legends in Chinese folklore. Unfortunately for Zhu, she is also strictly off-limits, being the wife of the legendary archer Hou Yi. In his drunken state, Zhu approaches Chang'e and begins to flirt with her. His exact words and actions are not clear, but they are evidently inappropriate enough to cause a major scandal in the celestial court. Chang'e, insulted by his advances, reports the incident to the Jade Emperor, the supreme ruler of heaven. In turn, the Jade Emperor is furious at Zhu's behavior. Such conduct is deemed unbecoming of a high-ranking celestial officer and a gross violation of heavenly etiquette. As punishment for his transgression, the Jade Emperor banishes Zhu from heaven, stripping him of his rank and immortal status. The punishment doesn't end there, though. The Jade Emperor decrees that Zhu is to be reincarnated in the mortal world. The intention is for him to be reborn as a human, where he would have the opportunity to redeem himself through a life of virtue and good deeds. Fate, however, has other plans for the disgraced marshal. In a cosmic mishap, Zhu's soul takes a wrong turn on its way to reincarnation. Instead of entering a human womb, it mistakenly enters the womb of a pig. This error results in him being born as a bizarre hybrid creature, part man, part pig. This accidental transformation into a pig man becomes a defining characteristic of his new existence. His human intelligence and memories remain intact, but he now has the physical appearance of a grotesque pig, complete with a snout and bristles. This unique appearance sets the stage for many of his future adventures and misadventures in the mortal world. But let's take a pause here and cover Zhu's story from the perspective of Black Myth Wukong. The game's interpretation of his story presents a dramatically different narrative from the mythology. Zhu, known as Marshal Tianping in the celestial realm, is portrayed not as a lecherous troublemaker, but as a figure caught in the web of divine politics and forbidden love. At the heart of this story is Zhu's infatuation with Taiyin, a moon goddess of great beauty and status. This crush sets in motion a series of events that will forever alter the course of his existence. The game presents Taiyin as an object of desire not just for Zhu, but for the Jade Emperor himself. In his pursuit of Taiyin, Zhu encounters Chang'e, who in this version is not the renowned moon goddess of traditional mythology, but rather a humble maid in Taiyin's service. The pivotal moment occurs when Zhu stumbles upon a scandalous scene, the Jade Emperor himself flirting with Taiyin. This discovery places Zhu in an impossible position. The knowledge he now possesses is dangerous, threatening to upset the balance of power in the heavenly realm. The Jade Emperor, in a move to protect his reputation and maintain his authority, takes drastic action. Instead of acknowledging his indiscretion, he chooses to remove the threat altogether. The punishment is severe and twofold: banishment to the mortal realm and a sentence lasting 1,000 lives where each life ends in a love tragedy. This curse is the driving force behind the recurring cycle of tragedy that defines Zhu's existence in his subsequent incarnations. In the mortal realm, Zhu's reincarnation goes wrong and he turns into a 2-foot-nothing pigsy, just like in the mythology. Chang'e's role in this version of the story is particularly heartbreaking. Driven by her love for Zhu, she makes the ultimate sacrifice, willingly abandoning her immortality and position in the celestial court. She chooses to reincarnate, eventually as Violet Spider, following Zhu into the cycle of mortal existence. The recurring cycle of romance between Zhu and Violet Spider is particularly tragic. In each lifetime, they find each other, drawn together by a love that has transcended their celestial origins. But the curse forces Zhu to repeatedly reject Violet Spider, not out of lack of feeling, but in an attempt to protect her from the tragic fate to which he has been condemned. Ultimately, while both versions of the story result in Zhu's fall and transformation, the game's interpretation shifts the focus dramatically. Instead of a tale about lust and misbehavior, it becomes a grand romantic tragedy. Let's now return to the mythology. Upon his rebirth as a pigman hybrid, Zhu adopts the name Zhu Gangli, which translates to strong-maned pig or stiff bristles pig. He establishes his new residence in Yunjian Dong, which translates to Cloud Pathway Cave. The choice of a cave as his dwelling place marks a significant downgrade from his former celestial home. It nonetheless provides him with shelter and a base from which to conduct his new, less savory activities. One of the most disturbing aspects of his new existence is his newfound tendency of eating humans. This barbaric habit represents a complete reversal from his former position as a protector of order in the celestial realms. Now, instead of safeguarding lives, he actively preys upon humans. Despite his monstrous behavior, he retains his intelligence and memories from his previous life. This combination of human cunning and demonic strength makes him a particularly dangerous predator. Just when Zhu thought his life couldn't get any weirder, along comes a divine intervention that's about to turn this pig's life into a real journey. Zhu's life of demonic debauchery comes to an abrupt halt when he encounters Guanyin, the bodhisattva of compassion. Known for her mercy and compassion, she sees potential for redemption in the fallen demon. This meeting marks a pivotal moment in Zhu's journey, offering him a chance to atone for his past misdeeds. She commissions him to join the journey of Tang Sanzang, a Buddhist monk on a sacred quest to retrieve scriptures from India. This mission is no small undertaking. It involves a perilous journey fraught with obstacles and supernatural challenges. But Zhu readily accepts. By accepting this mission, he can embark on a path of redemption and potentially earn his way back into the good graces of the celestial realm. Guanyin's choice to recruit Zhu for this important mission may seem surprising given his current state, but it aligns with Buddhist principles of universal salvation and the belief that even the most flawed beings can achieve enlightenment. Zhu's past as a celestial commander also suggests he possesses skills that could be valuable on such a dangerous journey. As part of this exchange, Guanyin bestows upon him a Buddhist name, Zhu Wuning. This new name can be roughly translated as rises to power or aware of ability. But his time to join the journey west has not arrived yet. So, in the meantime, Zhu decides it's time for a change of scenery. And what better place for a pigman to blend in than a quaint little village? Following his encounter with Guanyin, Zhu makes his way to Gao Village. In an attempt to integrate into human society, he uses his shape-shifting abilities to pose as a normal human being. No more cave-dwelling or man-eating for our little piggy friend. His efforts to appear human are initially successful. He manages to integrate himself with the villagers, showcasing his strength and work ethic. His ability to perform the work of multiple men impresses the locals, particularly when it comes to agricultural tasks. The village elder takes notice of his apparent qualities and considers him a potential son-in-law. Despite Zhu's unusual appetite, the elder sees him as a valuable addition to the village due to his incredible strength and work ethic. In a turn of events, he marries the village elder's daughter. But Zhu's domestic bliss is short-lived. As time passes, Zhu's gluttony gets the better of him, and he eats all the village's fruit and vegetables that they grow. He even consumes entire watermelons at a time. He also finds it increasingly difficult to maintain his human appearance consistently. His true form begins to manifest, particularly when he's not actively concentrating on his transformation. The gradual revelation of his true nature causes alarm and distress in Gao Village. His wife and in-laws are horrified when they discover that they've welcomed a monster into their family. The villagers now view him with fear and disgust. As tensions rise, Zhu's behavior becomes more erratic. Fearing rejection and possibly violence from the villagers, he resorts to locking up his wife in the backyard of their home. But this only serves to escalate the tension. The conflict reaches a critical point when the villagers, led by Zhu's father-in-law, seek outside help to deal with the pig demon. They attempt to hire exorcists and spiritual practitioners to remove Zhu, but these efforts prove useless against his supernatural powers. And as if that wasn't enough, it's during this conflict that the traveling monk Tang Sanzang, accompanied by Sun Wukong, arrive at the village following reports of a troublesome demon. This leads to a confrontation that will change the course of Zhu's life once again and set him on the path of the journey as foretold by Guanyin. Upon learning of the situation, Wukong takes it upon himself to find out who the demon the family speaks of is. In order to do so, he frees Zhu's wife and takes her appearance to disguise himself. While in disguise, he learns that the perpetrator is Zhu, and so Wukong readies himself to take him down in a fight. The Monkey King, known for his incredible strength and magical abilities, proves to be more than a match for the pig demon, and he ultimately subdues Zhu. This defeat serves as a humbling experience for the pig demon, who was once a powerful celestial marshal and had grown accustomed to overpowering humans in his demonic form. During this encounter, Zhu reveals his backstory to Wukong and Sanzang. He explains his former identity, his fall from grace, and his commission by Guanyin to join their journey. This revelation changes the dynamic of their interaction, as it becomes clear that their meeting is not coincidental but part of a larger divine plan. Sanzang, known for his compassion and commitment to Buddhist principles, sees this as an opportunity for Zhu's redemption. Despite the pig demon's recent troublesome behavior, Sanzang chooses to accept him as a disciple, fulfilling Guanyin's instructions. This acceptance marks a significant shift in Zhu's journey. From a disgraced celestial being turned man-eating demon pig, he now becomes a disciple on a holy quest. As part of his acceptance into the group, Sanzang gives Zhu a new name, Zhu Bajie. The latter means 8 precepts and refers to the 8 Buddhist principles that disciples follow. This name symbolizes his transition from his previous life of excess and misbehavior to one of religious discipline and self-improvement. But Zhu's acceptance into the group is not without its challenges. His gluttonous and lustful nature often clashes with the ideals of the journey. But these flaws also contribute to his character development throughout the story and provide comedic relief. And so the group sets off on the famous journey to the west. But Zhu's journey is not a walk in the park. Throughout the journey, he participates in numerous battles against demons and other supernatural entities. These confrontations test his martial skills, often pitting him against formidable enemies who seek to stop the group's progress or devour Sanzang. While not as powerful as Wukong, Zhu's strength and his 9-toothed rake prove valuable in many of these encounters. Speaking of his rake, this weapon was forged from divine ice iron by Lord Laozi himself, with assistance from various celestial beings and cosmic forces. Its design incorporates elements of the universe such as the seasons, celestial bodies, and the concepts of yin and yang. The rake's 9 jade teeth and golden rings underscore its heavenly nature and immense power. One of Zhu's strengths in battle is his proficiency in water-based combat. His abilities in aquatic environments often come in handy when the group faces water demons or needs to cross treacherous rivers and seas. This skill compensates for Wukong's relative weakness in water, making Zhu an important asset to the team. He also brings his 36 transformations to the table. Despite his role as a disciple and protector, he occasionally attempts to abandon the mission. His lazy and comfort-loving nature sometimes gets the better of him, leading to moments where he tries to convince the group to give up their quest or leave him behind. These instances often occur when facing particularly daunting challenges or when tempted by earthly pleasures. Despite his flaws, Zhu does have moments of bravery and usefulness. One notable incident that showcases his unique abilities is when he transforms into a giant pig to eat through a mountain of rotten fruit, blocking the group's path. This demonstrates how his seemingly negative traits, like his enormous appetite, can sometimes be turned into advantages. Zhu's knowledge of celestial matters, stemming from his past as a marshal, occasionally provides valuable insights to the group. His understanding of heavenly protocols and supernatural entities helps the group overcome situations involving divine or demonic forces. Throughout the journey, his character gradually develops. While he never fully overcomes his gluttonous and lustful nature, he does show moments of growth and selflessness. These instances often involve putting himself in danger to protect Sanzang or his fellow teammates, demonstrating a growing sense of loyalty and commitment to their shared mission. Zhu's role in the group dynamic also adds an element of comedic relief to the often perilous journey. His banter with Wukong, his comical attempts at wooing women, and his constant pursuit of food and comfort provide lighter moments that balance the more serious aspects of the journey. This combination of flaws, usefulness, and humor makes Zhu a memorable part of the journey. Anyways, as our heroes journey westward, they come upon a place called Silk Cave on Silk Ridge. Here, they encounter not one, but 7 spider demonesses. The Spider Sisters disguise themselves as beautiful women to lure in unsuspecting travelers. Sanzang falls for their ruse, approaching the women thinking he can ask them for directions or a meal. Little does he know they have other plans for dinner and he's on the menu. The spider demons pounce on Sanzang and try to capture him. They want to eat the monk's flesh, which is said to grant immortality. It's a common goal for the various monsters and demons our heroes encounter on their quest. Luckily, Wukong is on high alert as always. He sees through the Spider Sisters' disguise right away and springs into action to protect his master from their clutches. A fierce battle ensues between Wukong and the 7 spider demons. They are formidable enemies, but no match for the Monkey King's abilities. He fights them off and forces them to release Sanzang from their grasp. With Sanzang safe, the group prepares to continue their journey onward. But the Spider Sisters are not done with them yet. The demonesses regroup and attempt to capture him once again. This second attempt proves to be their undoing. Wukong has had enough of their antics. He crushes the spider demons once and for all, ensuring they can no longer threaten his master or anyone else. With disaster averted, our heroes set off once more on their journey. Now, let's take a pause here and cover this encounter from the perspective of Black Myth Wukong. In the game, Violet Spider belongs to a group of 7 spider demonesses residing in Webbed Hollow. These spider sisters have the ability to transform into beautiful women. They use their allure to trap unsuspecting travelers, making them dangerous enemies. The story begins when Sanzang decides to seek alms near Webbed Hollow. Unaware of the danger, he approaches a cluster of huts in the forest. There, he sees several women playing under a pavilion. The women invite him into their home, but their hospitality is a ruse. They suddenly throw Sanzang to the ground, tie him with ropes, and hang him from a beam in a most uncomfortable manner. Meanwhile, Wukong senses something is amiss. He turns back while climbing trees and branches and sees a glimmer of light. He realizes his master must have encountered enemies. So he summons the local keeper to gather more information. The keeper informs him that the glimmer comes from the celestial bathing spring, which has been taken over by the 7 spider demonesses. Learning that the spiders bathe 3 times a day, Sun Wukong devises a plan. He transforms into an eagle, swoops down to the spring, and steals all the clothes from the rack. This bold move sets the stage for the confrontation to come and leaves the Spider Sisters in a vulnerable position. Zhu, upon hearing about the situation, becomes immediately interested. The prospect of encountering beautiful females proves too tempting for him to resist. Despite the potential danger, he rushes to investigate the scene. As he arrives at the spring, he sees many women's clothes scattered about. This sight only fuels his excitement and curiosity. Without any hesitation, he strips off his black garb and jumps into the water. He transforms himself into a catfish, and as he swims near Violet Spider, she attempts to catch him. In a romantic twist, however, Violet Spider recognizes Zhu despite his catfish form and calls him an old acquaintance. Zhu recognizes her as well despite her spider form. And so at last, the two lovers are finally reunited once again. What follows is a romantic embrace, with Zhu and Violet Spider falling in love once again and reliving their past romances. This reunion, unbeknownst to Zhu, would lead to the birth of a daughter. Unfortunately, their love connection is short-lived. Wukong and the rest of the team soon arrive to confront the spiders. They engage in battle with the insect sons who were guarding the spider's home and emerge victorious, proceeding to free Sanzang from his captivity. Zhu, following Wukong's orders, reluctantly engages in battle with the Spider Sisters. He wields his rake with deadly precision, striking down 6 of the 7 sisters. Each blow seems to weigh heavily on him as he carries out his duty. When Zhu comes face to face with Violet Spider, he hesitates. The memory of their playful encounter in the bathing spring flashes through his mind. In a moment of love, Zhu makes a decision that goes against his orders, and instead of striking Violet Spider down, he spares her life. He tells her to flee, urging her to escape while she still can. Seizing this opportunity, she flees from the scene. With Violet Spider's departure, the brief connection between her and Zhu ends once again. Unbeknownst to Zhu, Violet Spider will have to feed off of her dead sisters' bodies for survival. Their potential romance comes to a very bloody end, as the curse of 1,000 romantic tragedies strikes again. And so Zhu, with a heavy heart, rejoins his companions to continue their journey to the west. Now back to the mythology. After countless miles, numerous battles, and more than a few close calls with becoming someone else's dinner, our piggy friend finally brings home the bacon, or in this case, the Buddhist scriptures. As the journey reaches its conclusion, Zhu and his fellow teammates successfully retrieve the sacred Buddhist scriptures from India. This monumental achievement marks the fulfillment of their long and perilous quest, bringing them to the threshold of enlightenment. Upon their return, the group faces judgment for their actions and efforts throughout the journey. Despite his many flaws and occasional attempts to abandon the mission, Zhu's overall contribution to the journey's success is recognized. However, his attainment of enlightenment is not as complete as that of his fellow travelers. While Wukong and Sanzang achieve Buddhahood, Zhu's transformation is less profound. This outcome reflects his continued attachment to earthly desires, which, while diminished, are not entirely overcome. In recognition of his efforts and partial spiritual advancement, Zhu is bestowed with the title Cleaner of the Altars. This role involves maintaining the cleanliness and purity of sacred spaces where offerings are made to Buddha. This responsibility aligns with Buddhist principles of mindfulness and respect for holy sites. I'd consider this position an insult, but I also just hate cleaning. But there's also an upside. As part of his reward, Zhu is granted unlimited access to the food offerings made to Buddha at these altars. This privilege caters to his infamous appetite, allowing him to indulge in his love for food while performing a sacred duty. This outcome for Zhu serves as a commentary on the Buddhist concept of karma and spiritual advancement. It suggests that while complete enlightenment may not be achievable for all in a single lifetime, progress on the spiritual path is still valuable and rewarded. And this brings us to the events of Black Myth Wukong. Now, I won't cover the full story here as I've covered it in a previous video, but let's talk about the most important parts of the story as it relates to our piggy friend Zhu and his romance with Violet Spider. In Chapter 4, the player as the Destined One stumbles upon an unlikely ally in a most peculiar predicament.
Who cares? I caught a whiff of monkey stench familiar enough for me to sound my welcome.
Zhu is trapped inside in a pair of massive golden symbols. The Destined One frees him by ramming the electric dragon Kangjin's star into the structure.
What took you so long? Constipation? I was nearly cooked alive in there. Move it.
Zhu's release marks the beginning of another destined partnership. As they venture deeper into unknown territory, the landscape begins to change when they enter the webbed hollow. Zhu becomes increasingly agitated due to his complicated past in this area. The duo soon encounters the second sister, one of Violet Spider's daughters.
Your rudeness is forgiven. Show some respect. Maybe I'll kindly pay your mother a visit.
She transforms into a large spider-like creature, becoming the first major boss fight of the chapter. After defeating her, there's a tense exchange between her and Zhu, giving us a glimpse into his tumultuous history with her mother Violet Spider. The Destined One then pushes forward into the spider lair. Inside the lair, the Destined One faces various challenges, including a fight with Buddha's right hand, which turns out to be part of a larger insect monster. Zhu finally reveals that Violet Spider, the ruler of this domain, is an old flame of his from centuries ago. Zhu is escorted by the sisters into their mother's home, where a dramatic reunion unfolds between Violet Spider and Zhu. Their history is complex. They were once lovers, and Zhu is the father of one of Violet Spider's daughters. However, their past is also marred by betrayal. Zhu abandoned Violet Spider and their child to continue his journey with the monk Sanzang. This abandonment left deep emotional scars in Violet Spider's heart. She was angry at him for the trauma he imposed on her in the past. Well, if she was honest with herself, she'd see that she's actually jealous. She wants to be Zhu's one and only, but recognizes that he will always stand by Sun Wukong, or in this case, the Destined One. So, in her fit of jealousy, she demands for them to be together. The daughters prepare for their wedding. Not any old wedding, though, a red wedding. Violet Spider attempts to ensnare him once more, but this time as a sacrifice to be devoured. This is in line with her habit of marrying a mate each season, only to consume him afterwards.
Years up there haven't been kind to you. But you're with me now.
After the wedding, Violet Spider takes control of Zhu. Later, the Destined One checks in on his bestie Zhu and realizes he's under a spell.
Aren't you dead already? You're the one who ruined it all!
He goes from his small piggy form to a giant red-eyed monster. After the Destined One knocks some sense into Zhu, he comes back to his regular self. But then bam, Violet Spider scoops him up with her web. The Destined One pursues her in an attempt to save Zhu and retrieve one of the relics she has. It's believed that Violet Spider might have absorbed one of the 6 senses so she could see Zhu one last time. She knew it would lure Zhu and the Destined One to her. The pursuit leads to a confrontation between Violet Spider and the Hundred-Eyed Taoist Master, another powerful entity. The Taoist Master forcibly takes the relic from Violet Spider, absorbing its power and transforming into a monstrous humanoid centipede. A grand battle ensues, with the Destined One facing off against the Taoist Master. Surprisingly, Violet Spider's daughters are aligned against the Master, upset by his treatment of their mother. Throughout the fight, the Taoist Master claims he's avenging Violet Spider, but his true motives are simple greed for the power of the relics. After a grueling battle, the Destined One emerges victorious.
Come down, Grandmaster. I need you.
The Taoist Master is defeated, and Violet Spider is freed from within him. But the ordeal proves fatal. In a tragic moment, Violet Spider dies in her daughter's arms. Her death marks the end of any possibility for her and Zhu to reconcile or form a family with their daughter. This is yet another tragic ending to their love story as a result of Zhu's curse to 1,000 lifetimes of tragic love. While Violet Spider is dying, Zhu turns his back on her and their daughter. He does not acknowledge them and reluctantly walks away with his head down. Although seemingly a cold move, Zhu actually makes himself distant from Violet Spider and his daughter in an attempt to protect them from the Celestial Court. He has been cursed to tragedy and wants them to live their lives free of his burden. With her dying breath, Violet Spider says the words, "You haven't changed," seemingly referring to his loyalty to Wukong and by extension the Destined One. Sadly, she'll never know the truth of Zhu's intentions.
You haven't changed a bit. You fool.
The chapter concludes with a cutscene that provides more insight into Zhu and Violet Spider's past relationship. It shows moments of their love story, including their first meeting before Zhu's fall from heaven and Violet Spider's reincarnation, their initial meeting at the Webbed Hollowed, and their love throughout their past lives. This cutscene showcases the genuine affection that once existed between Violet Spider and Zhu. The events of this chapter serve as a pivotal moment in Zhu Bajie's character arc. We see him confronted with the long-term consequences of his past actions, forced to take the life of the person who has loved him in several lifetimes in an attempt to protect her from himself. And so the curse of 1,000 lives of tragic romance strikes once again. And that's a wrap on the tragic story of Zhu and Violet Spider. What do you think of Zhu's curse to 1,000 lifetimes of romantic tragedies? Do you think he'll ever reunite with Violet Spider to live their happily ever after? If you enjoyed this deep dive, you'll love the story of Erlang Shen, the final enemy who is secretly Sun Wukong's friend. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to click on the video on screen now. I'll see you there. In any event, if you enjoyed this explanation of Zhu's love story, remember to like the video so I know to keep making more. Subscribe if you loved it, and let me know in the comments what other characters from Black Myth Wukong you'd like to see me cover next. See you on the next one, friends.